All right, so DM Dave here, back for another session of our Dark Discoveries starter set campaign. We've got the crew here after a break, where last time made an adventure into the Crimson Watch hideout. We'll have Lorimar give us a brief summary on what went down last week, and then we'll get rolling.
All right, so you'll have to forgive me. There's probably going to be some holes, but so we started down into the Crimson Watch hideout, minus Gamesh as he was off on his own little adventure. And as soon as we got into the hideout, we were immediately just set upon by a couple of spider walking things that turned out to be ettercaps. And we had a very, very long, caress-filled encounter.
Very
There,
sensuous.
there was a lot of inappropriate touching, not a lot of damage being dealt. Um, we finally were able to fight our way through them. Um, at that point, we saw a group of there was a group of Crimson Watch at the other end of the canyon. We went to, or at the other end of this cavern that we were in. Um, we started to follow them. Kind of took a, or we took a little bit of a shortcut, just kind of checking out the rest of the area. But then when we finally caught up with them after climbing up some stairs and tried to, parlay with them after Gamesh finally joined back up with our group and kicked down a door. Um, got took a crossbow bolt, I believe, in the shoulder, as it seems to be our MO for this group. That's right, it was through a door. Um, Met up with this group of Crimson Watch. We tried to parlay with them. They were having none of it. Anything we did, they were just against us, and we ended up having to put one of them down um, before the other ones finally relented. Um, Gamesh tried to save the one that we had to put down, but alas, he did not make it, which was a sad day for Gamesh, but happy for the rest of us.
Go
Um,
figure. Massive head trauma kills you.
we went searching about. We seem to have found Glassstaff's um, room, where we found a staff. Ironically enough, not a glass staff. Found a bit of other treasure, and then at that point we went tearing off after the group of Crimson Watch soldiers who we thought were waiting for us, but turned out they were running away as fast as possible. Um, while the entire group, um, Gamesh and Roland and Thor were running after this group, Lorimar found a goblin who was very scared and clearly was a prisoner of this group of Crimson Watch. We saved him, and he led us out of the cavern, and after meeting up with another group of captured goblins, we freed the whole group and exited out of the caverns. And that's about where we left off.
Yeah, that's good. So, when you when you found the captured goblins, one of them, if you remember, he said his name was Snap,
Snap,
and
that's right.
and was very insistent while he was still locked behind the cage. He said, "You have to let me go. Gotta get back to
He said
Cragmaw
he had to get back to
Castle. Gotta
Cragmaw
go."
Castle. Yeah.
And so might have found a good friend there. And yeah, we left
Seemed
off right
we
outside the mansion.
seemed we might have found a guide to get us to
Yeah.
where we need to go rescue our friend.
And Gamesh had some interesting skeleton encounters too, which we'll let that one slide. All right, we can
That's what
do.
happens when you try to use a cockroach to show you where to go, and you
I,
misty
I
step through a wall.
I was just being too clever for my own good. The DM put me back in my place.
I
It'd be
I
great if you
like your
were there.
creativity. You just never know where you're going.
Uh,
And actually, so that was actually planned. You just those skeletons were totally already there, just waiting for anyone who wasn't in a red cloak. So it couldn't have been better.
oh man, I could have taken them. Could have done
But
it.
You
Yeah,
survived.
Patrick,
That's all that matters.
if you want to roll for an inspiration card, we will
All right.
get you one.
80.
80. So 80 is pick a card. You may spend this card and draw 2 in its place, keeping one of your choice.
Nice. I'm going to save that
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so you can save that, and it's basically like advantage on an inspiration draw.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Yeah, so that's you guys finished off right outside the abandoned manor on the east side of Phandalin. We will pick up on that after we get rolling on our cold open for the week.
Ooh, yeah.
So this week we start, and our entire view is jet black. Hear nothing, you can see nothing, until all of a sudden you hear very like muffled noises, as if off in the distance you hear slight clinging. You hear very quiet like screaming, like rah, in rage. And then starting to get louder and louder, like we're starting to hear more and more. And we get the clinging as swords clashing. We hear an explosion. Instead of yelling in battle, now you hear a scream, you hear dripping, and just the general sound, the din of the battlefield. And as our hearing is returning, all of a sudden, immediately cut to view, and we see a goblin slumped against a stone wall. In fact, he's sitting on the ground, and where he impacted, the stone wall behind him is cracked and crumbling as if he was thrown up to it with extreme amounts of force. And this goblin is wearing scale armor. He's got a tribal tattoo rimming across both of his jaw lines. He's laying in this hole in the stone wall. Shaken and dazed, he manages to pull himself out as stone crumbles around him. He looks on the ground beside him, and there's a large pile of rubble and stones, and he notices there's a goblin body underneath it. Going over there, he pulls up a stone that's laying on the body, and he realizes that this goblin corpse is missing its entire arm and a portion of its chest. Realizing that this goblin's lost, he drops it, and he turns around, picks up a sword off the ground, and begins charging forward. So we see the back view of this goblin, his back as he's sprinting forward. We notice in front of him, we're in a large hall of a castle, and he's charging towards an orc. You just see this orc raising a sword. It's in the distance about 20 feet. And as he's running forward, all of a sudden, blasting from the side of the screen, we see a bolt of ice just hit him and take him with it. Its momentum carries him off the left of the screen. Our view pans over to where the ice bolt came from. We see a drow female. She's wearing dark black scale armor with purple trim and the emblem of a spider on it. Her head is bloody. There's a gash on the very top, right above a jade circlet that's pulling back her long silver hair. And we see this female drow face on, and we notice in the far background behind her, we see another orc, and he's picked up a goblin off the ground and is crushing his head between his hands. But that's immediately dwarfed as a dragonborn steps into view. this dragonborn is approaching behind the drow, and he raises up a large axe, ready to swing it on her, unknowing from behind. When all of a sudden, a Crimson Guardman steps in behind the drow, holding up his sword and blocking the blow of the axe. She turns around, and in surprise, she grasps the hand of this dragonborn, which is blocked on that axe, and you see just a glowing black, smoky wispy spread from her hand onto his. And this spreads up his arm as his skin begins to bubble and liquefy, and it moves up his arm. His face begins to spread up with black, and he drops to the ground. The priestess turns around, and then all of a sudden, all three, the Crimson Watch, the priest, and the Dragonborn, are engulfed in an explosion of bright blue azure fire. So we hear screams erupt as this blue fire engulfs the screen, and we cut to black. So that's that. Now we'll get to our action.
Oh,
By the way, there was not a lot of damage done last week. You can expect a lot of damage and a lot of action this week, potentially.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh, that's wonderful. I get to tank more hits. That's great.
We haven't slept in a while, have we?
No, you have. If you remember, you guys have actually, chose not to sleep on the way back from the Orc camp. So you have all been up for approaching 40 hours, which would explain your poor performance in the Crimson Watch hideout.
And Gamash was right as rain, man. After his little escapade, he felt great.
And that's a good question, Roland, because we pick up. You are all standing outside the dilapidated manor on the east side of Phandalin. It is the wee hours of the morning, near 1 or 2 a.m. You are all just bedraggled, bruised, dirty, sweaty. Some are bloody, and you're standing here with an assortment of goblins, one of which is Snap, and you notice the majority of these goblins have appeared to not have eaten for several days, and they look some worse off than you are. And,
I know where we have rations.
And the floor is yours.
Question. Since we've been going so long, have we suffered any exhaustion?
So, yeah, I play a little loose with exhaustion,
Okay.
but
That's fine.
But yeah, you guys are physically exhausted. Anything you choose to do beyond this point without rest, you will instead of doing the blanket exhaustion like tangible effects from it, I like to creatively apply effects.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. So it's more of like an RP type thing, like we would have played out how we feel like we would be. Okay.
So I may enforce some effects as well.
Fair enough.
But yes, you all feel very exhausted, if that answers your question.
Lorimar is probably covered in blood with many, many open wounds. You can tell that I am just like on the verge of collapse. That if we are not, if I don't get some rest soon, then I'm not going to be able to go on any type of extended journey.
Gamash would reach into a pouch at his side, saying, "How many goblins are there?"
So you've got Snap, and I believe I said 4 more goblins.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got, let me see, that'd be 5, 8 people. Okay, so I pull out my pouch, and I reach in, I pull out 9 berries. If you remember, these are what Josh gave to me in exchange for my rations, what Roland gave me. And I hand one out to each person. I feel like a Kami from Dragon Ball Z. Like, these are my Senzu beans. So I start handing them out to everyone. I give everyone one.
Yeah, meta knowledge, I'd like to note that they only last 24 hours.
Well, meta knowledge sucks, so forget about meta knowledge.
Usually berries right now, and they will be very disappointed.
So Gamash,
While they are disappointed, I'd like to catch Goodberry and give them some brand new berries and make them happy with me.
Yeah, Gamash,
Nice guy.
you reach into a pouch and you notice just like a like a mushy, pulpy, just mixture in the bottom of your satchel, and you pull out a red stained hand.
Yummy.
As Roland is passing out good berries to everyone.
Lorimer walks over to you and tries to lick your fingers.
I like instinctively pull my hand back, like, yo, no. And I kind of just like look down at him, like, what the heck, dude? And then I reach my bag and pull out some more of this fried owl that I found outside and offer him a leg.
Yeah, so all the goblins they happily take the berries, and you see they all scarf them up. They feel it hasn't filled their hunger, but they're grateful for it. And you see, even though he's weary, Snap he steps forward once he sees they've all had a berry, and he goes, "We must go now. We leave for Kragma."
Thor is going to say, you do not look, you and your followers look to be in as worse a shape as we are. We have not slept for days. As much as we'd love to take off for Kragmar right now, I think we must rest first.
So, quick question. Has Gamash, like, since the whole, like, being taken away thing, would you count that as kind of resting? Like, is Gamash in chipper shape?
You feel rather well rested.
Okay.
You don't feel 100%, but you feel pretty well rested, much more than everyone else.
Okay. I would kneel down then in front of Snap and like look him in the eyes and say, I understand that you have something you wish to protect. And seeing as my companions are in no state to go with you, I shall accompany you and you shall leave your men here. They shall follow.
So he looks you up and down, and he looks at the rest of the party. He goes, "You are big, but we need more."
I say, tired soldiers do not win wars.
And no, you're good. What's up?
At this time, Thor is going to say, may I suggest that we take this to Seldir? Maybe he would have a suggestion.
So Snap looks up at you, and he goes, "The human, he still lives?"
Yes, he's in the town hall. I think he's attending to the victims.
Oh, how can we be sure this town is safe? Are there more Crimson?
We can never be sure. We ran 3 off just before we rescued you. That's the only 3 that we've seen.
I would look the goblin in the eyes as well, and say, by my honor, as a member of the Skyrix's clan, I offer to you that I will protect you and die on your behalf if the need come. I shall protect you and make sure you are safe.
So you see that Snap kind of looks back at the other goblins who are all sitting there in rougher shape than him. They've been there much longer. And he kind of nods. He goes, "I'll take a short break. I give you some food."
We have some food. We would share our rations with you.
So he kind of rallies the rest of the goblins up and kind of motions for you guys to lead the way.
Look, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's the middle of the night. We're all exhausted. Why don't we head back to our manor, get some food, get some rest. First thing in the morning, we'll go meet with Sildar, see what help he can provide to us.
Agreed.
Are there any goblins that are having a hard time traveling? Like, that are, like, essentially, like, the worst of the worst?
No, they're more slow from malnutrition than anything. There's no extensive injuries. It's more neglect, like the Crimson Watch walked them there and left them.
But I mean, like, are there any of them that, like, are, like, on their, like, last step almost? Like, they're, like, really, really, really malnourished?
No, from what you can tell, these goblins, if you had to guess, they seem to have been locked up for at most a week or so. Not like they've been there for weeks or months.
Oh, okay. All right. I'd give them the rest of the owl. as a sign of goodwill.
Yeah, and so they're all in a little group, and they're following you guys.
Yeah. At this point, Roland is basically going to trance and just, his foot hitting the ground, he's waking back up. So to keep him a little bit more awake, he'll cast Druidcraft to find out what the weather will be like.
So it's actually because you guys have just finished a big rainstorm. Tomorrow is going to be unbearably hot and humid, just miserable.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, I'll pass that knowledge along.
Yeah, not a fun traveling day.
But we better rest then. So yeah, I'm gonna head up to the manor.
Yeah, as will I.
I'll try to be handing out good berries so people get too full to eat any of my animal rations.
Nice. So you're all working your way back towards the manor, which is not too far. It's just right by the ones that you're currently at. So as you're traveling, you notice that the rain has extinguished all the fires that were in Phandalin. You still notice the stacks of bodies, and you don't smell anything yet, but you know you might soon. It's still just that smell of the fresh after rain. As you approach your manor, Thor, you notice that one of the buildings next to your manor has some ash markings on it. And you would recognize that this is Thieves' Cant with an arrow. And it's pointing towards the part of town. And this is as the group is just heading into your manor for sleep and food.
And I'm gonna excuse myself to just say I have to use the bathroom over here, and I'm gonna go check out the thieves' camp.
Yeah.
Of note, this may be the first time that a character has used the bathroom in a D&D campaign. Just so you know.
Yeah. So
You gotta clean your armor at some point.
It's been 40 hours.
So you guys can role play in response. Thor says, "Excuse me, everyone, I have to go use the bathroom."
Lorimar, he doesn't seem to hear anything at this point. He just walks into the manor and finds just the first, not even particularly soft spot that he can, and then just almost collapses with exhaustion, and you just see him fall into a trance.
Can I sense the deception in his voice?
Since you are feeling a little more fresh, we'll let you roll a perception check.
I'm going to
great
go
perception.
to the bathroom.
Gotta love that perception. Oh, it's a whopping 5.
So you're fresh, but you're still tired. You kind of want to get everyone in resting and getting to food. Everyone's exhausted and just ragged.
So I'll let them go in. I'll let him go off, and I'm gonna leave and go and bury my dragonborn brethren.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll pick up on Thor. Thor, you on closer inspection, you notice this is indeed a series of ash markings that clearly point in an arrow towards the center of town, the circle. And if you follow that to the circle, you would notice that Gamesh is walking along the same path, and he is. I assume you hide behind something, or you try not to be noticed by him, and you would notice that he stops directly in the middle of the square and starts tending to bodies in plain sight of the inn, where you notice more Thieves' Cant, which has an arrow pointing at a hole in the side of the burnt down building.
Could I make my way over there without Gamesh seeing me?
So you can give me a stealth roll contested by his perception roll.
That isn't even a
Would have to roll
contest.
down there.
The dice have a chance.
The die
16.
5.
Okay, so you make it a problem. As you get to the end, you notice that if you reach your hand right inside the hole, you kind of have to move aside one small burned board. Your hand grasps a pouch, a leather pouch that has this letter. So we'll give you some time. Let me find it, actually. Okay, that should be sending. So we'll give you some time to peruse that. Gamash, you are attending to your Dragonborn kin, and you notice that in the mayor's hall, where Sildar and all of the goblin and survivors were, that there's still the small den of just some rustling and coughing. But you notice that everyone seems to have calmed down. You think you see one small burning light in the top of the room, but other than that, you can contend to your Dragonborn, and everyone else gets to. Is there anything Roland or Lorimar specific you guys want to do, or are y'all just crashing?
Did any animals that I invited to come to the mansion come to the mansion?
So you notice that there have been a small section of rations that have been nibbled on, and with your druid skills, you notice that there have been some mice and a dog that have made their way through, but that's it.
In that case, I'll just pick up the crumbs and just sprinkle them outside to feed the insects, and then enter trance.
Nice. All right.
At that point, Thor is gonna help Gamesh bury his brothers there before he heads up to go to sleep.
Yeah, and Gamesh is super surprised to see you in the town circle.
Yeah, I kind of like look up at him, like kind of like confused, like why he's here. Then I wouldn't say anything, kind of just like, oh, everyone's got their own business or whatever. Maybe he was doing something important, and I would just kind of nod to him as I continued to dig the grave. Oh no, wait, actually I don't dig a grave. Okay, so I collect a bunch of wood, and I do a funeral pyre, and then I bury their ashes.
So you collect a large pile of extremely soaked and drenched wood. So you can't make a funeral pyre with what you found right now, but you
Are
can
there
prepare
any
one.
oil lamps nearby?
So yeah, if you go through some of the houses, you can find some containers of oil.
Okay, I'll pour some oil over it so it'll burn even if it is wet. But I do
There
it
you go.
outside of the town so I don't burn the town down.
Smart thinking. Who says he doesn't
right
know
next to
I
wisdom?
the
might
end.
not be perceptive, but I'm not an idiot.
Okay.
And then I
Yeah.
took each of their talismans already, but yeah, and then I burn their bodies, say a couple words in Dragonborn, and say like a little prayer in Dragonborn, and then bury their ashes afterwards.
All right. Yeah. So the pyre lights up the dark night sky. Still has thunderclouds looming overhead, and you observe it for a while, and then you head back and get some rest.
Yep.
Perfect. So you guys are all just passed out. Even Gamash, you were more well rested, but everyone just hits the sack and is just dead to the world for a while. You notice that it's close to midday. You guys have slept a ton, and you hear banging on the bottom as you notice Sildar is standing in the manor doorway.
Well,
So he's just kind of knocking, trying to alert anyone there that, hey, I'm here. What's going on?
I tell him to go away.
I'd get up
the
and
grumpy druid.
I'd get up warily, looking around quickly to make sure that Solarian is with us. And
Gamash continues to snore.
when I notice her, then I would kind of make my way to the door and throw it open. Sildar, what can we do for you?
It's good to see you back. Did the Dragonborn find you?
He did. You can't hear him in the back there?
He perks his ear up. And hears just one loud snore in response. So it seems he's here as well. When you rouse everyone, meet me in the mayor's hall. We need to discuss our next moves.
All right, we will. And at that, I would make my way into the kitchen, grab 2 of the largest metal pots that I can find and carry, and then walk right over Gamesh and just bang, 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 start banging them together.
And I rolled, and Gamash does not wake up. I got a 2, so that's a 0 on perception.
I would just take the pots and just drop them on him.
That would wake me up. Okay, I jump with a start.
Yeah, you get some jumping and like some scared goblins who now look at you with a bit of anger on their face, and you notice Snap is rubbing his head as he comes in and goes, well, are we ready to go?
Sildar just stopped by. He wants to see us when we're all ready.
Last I heard, we captured this Sildar. I'd be interested to talk to him.
Well, he seemed quite interested to talk with us as well. I'm sure he'll be surprised to see the company that we all keep.
And Thor is going to speak up at that point. What do you mean you captured him?
Oh, the Kragmaw tribe has been going downhill. King Tab used to lead us, and he led us well. Recently, they've aligned with the Drow and this red-cloaked fools. It's been downhill ever since. They started taking orders from them. The last order I heard of was to capture Sildar and a dwarf.
Would you happen to know a goblin named Bebop?
Did they get him as well?
No, he's alive and well. He should be in town here.
So you see that he gets a small brief smile lights up his face, which he immediately masks, and he carries himself a little bit higher, and he goes, "Well, let's go meet this Sildar then."
One quick question. Do you know if they were taking the dwarf to Kragmaw Castle?
I know they were supposed to. When I got there, he was not.
All right. Let's go see Sildar. Somebody kick the beast boy. If nobody does, I'd make my way over to where these 2 big pots are and just go and noticing that banging them together clearly doesn't work, I would just drop them on Roland as well.
Nice.
I wake up just before I was about to cast heat metal.
You hear a thump coming from outside the door as Gamash falls down the stairs from being too tired.
And so Gamash goes to brew a pot of coffee for everyone.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. So you guys round up everyone, and you'll start making your way over to the mayor's hall. When you get in there, you notice that the door's wide open. It's a little more as you travel. The moment you step out of the manor, you are immediately blasted by intense rays of sun, and they beat down on you just very harshly. The air is muggy and thick, like you're drinking the air itself. Just a stifling, humid day. As you march the couple hundred feet towards the mayor's hall, you're already coated in a film of sweat, which is caking with the dust that you kick up as you travel the road there. Going into the mayor's hall, you notice that Sildar is again standing at the top, poring over maps on his desk with Beanbop standing beside him. As they both look up, you notice that Beanbop sees Snap traveling with you, and he lights up with a smile, but does not hide it. He travels around the desk, comes straight up to Snap, and just gives him a big hug. And Sildar's motioning for you all to come up to him.
What can we do for you, my friend?
Well, what have you done? What went down last night?
We went in to talk to those Crimson Watch, and they wouldn't see reason. They would not talk with us. We ended up having to put one of them down before the other two fled. And we found Snap and his goblin comrades being kept prisoner there. They said they can show us where Cragmaw Castle is.
Well, I'll shed no tears for the Crimson Watch. These goblins have proved their worth 10 times over. If you freed some, it's fine by me. And at this time, you'll notice that Beanbop, like with his arm, if you remember, Beanbop is a large, muscular goblin. He stands nearly a foot over Snap. You notice that Snap is wiry, but as the two stand beside each other, even within goblins, you notice a resemblance between the two of them. And they walk into the room, and Beanbop looks at each one of you in the eye as he walks around the desk. He goes, "You all, very great. Thank you, finding Snap. I owe my life."
Well, if you can help us get Gundren back, you'll have paid your debt.
And so Sildar looks at Snap as you're talking. He goes, "Would you know anything about Gundren's location?" And Snap looks up, goes, I don't know where Gundren is. I know that King Tab might. My only concern right now is the breeze blowing a lot of feedback on the mic.
The
I'm gonna shut
curtain.
the window real quick.
It's the curtains of smothering.
It's like there's a superhero movie going on like just outside the screen, and we're just seeing the cape
Yeah.
as he's fighting. Yeah.
Roland will stop
So,
the wind with Druidcraft.
I didn't say it was going to be a windy day, did I?
It's like a weatherman.
so
You can never
Snap
trust
is-
him.
So Snap said he doesn't know where Gundren is. He just goes, my only concern right now is making it back to King Tab. He should have answers.
All right, let's get those answers.
The sooner the better.
And Sildar looks at each one of you. He goes, I don't think I can go with you right now. If anyone returns, this town is nowhere near ready to defend itself. But I don't think you should run off without a plan either. Do we know anything about this Cragmaw Castle?
I just look expectantly to Snap. Like, you got anything to tell us?
Uh, I think we did learn that there may be some drow there.
So, yeah, Snap, he looked up, he goes, I wasn't there much. I'm King Tab's personal scout, so I'm out traveling the trails often. But from when I have been there, yes, there were at least a dozen drow last time I was there. I'd be glad to let you know anything you need.
Would you be able to sneak us into this castle, though? Unnoticed.
Unnoticed would be tough. There are many sentries. I could perhaps take you as prisoners, get you into the castle through the front door.
Could you ensure that we'd be able to get to our weapons when we needed them?
Well, not on my own. There are options to get into the castle. You might have to wait till nightfall, but I could try to sneak in as well.
And Thor is going to say to him, from one sneaky individual to another, there's always a back way.
And I'm good at finding them. It is a 4-day trek, and I feel if we follow my route, let me take the back roads. I could get us there in 2.
Can I tell if he's lying or just see?
Yeah, from what you can tell, he seems to be genuine.
All right.
And you know that Beanbop is kind of standing there with his arm on his shoulder, nodding in approval at least.
I think it's our best option.
Any friend of Beanbop is a friend of ours.
So, Sildar looks at you all, and you guys can talk for a little bit longer. Does anyone have any other specific questions about Cragmaw for Snap?
What else is there besides these drow? Are there any other creatures, beasts? Do you have any pets that we should know about?
So, I left days ago. Oh, I've been in the cell days. I left maybe a week ago. They had just put out the order to capture Sildar, as he looks up at Sildar and kind of lowers his head, like, sorry. They just put out the order to capture Sildar and the dwarf. I left on King Tab's order. The Cragmaw had grown restless. Recently, more drow had arrived with a half-dozen Crimson Watch. As I left, there was a large, furry white one talking to a female drow, and their little worm beast.
So, do we still have the Crimson Watch capes that we took from Crimson Watch Hideout?
It depends if you guys took them or not, but you know.
I remember we were wearing.
Yeah, if you guys kept them on, you still have them. You know, you saw several in the mansion itself too,
Well,
so getting them would be no issue.
There would probably be some laying around, I guess, around their hideout. We could always go back and get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's our option. Let's go in. As Crimson Watch. They seem to have the lay of the land. Gamesh. I'll take care of you, Gamesh.
You will be the prisoner.
So Snap looks forward when you're talking about this, He kind of looks down. He goes, "Yeah, that could solve our problem. Crimson Watch arrived routinely. We never knew when they were coming."
Let's
And
do that.
Sildar looks at everyone. "I think that's a good idea. I would go with you, but if any Dragonborn or orcs return, this town will not be able to fend for itself." And Beanbop looks forward. He looks at he goes to the stairway and looks down. His half dozen goblins, which you guys met in the cave earlier, they're still groaning. Some are wrapped up in bandages, and he looks back over his shoulder and he comes in and goes, "I leave my men. Help protect. Beanbop, go with Snap." Unless you guys object.
No.
Let's go. Before we let go, Sildar, is there anywhere I can get a set of leather armor?
So Sildar walks down the stairway, kind of gathering everyone out, and he points to a pile in one of the storerooms in the mansion, and you see a large stack of armor and swords and weaponry that's all been collected from the battle.
All right.
So what armor would you like?
I'm gonna pick through and look for a,
Is there any studded leather armor? Because Laura
So yeah,
American
you
have my
guys find at least 3 pair of studded leather armor, and you find a set of +8. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you guys. No, there's a half dozen plain hide and leather armor. Some of it's got gashes in it, some of it's got stains of blood. But you find there are 3 okay condition studded leather armor.
I'd grab one of those, the studded leather.
I'm gonna grab one too.
Cool. So how does that touch you guys' AC now?
My AC will be up one more to 16.
Okay. And
My
Lorma?
AC will actually drop. It'll be 15. But it'll be a
Okay, with
standard
mage?
15. No, I will not be using mage armor anymore.
Oh yeah. Okay. So 15.
Yep.
Solid. Cool. Yeah. So you guys load up in your armor. Beanbop has been gathering some rations and supplies and water skins for everyone, and you notice he's just kind of chatting and smiling with Snap, and all laden down with supplies and fresh armor. Looks at everyone. He goes, "Can we move fast?"
I'm gonna look at Gamesh and say, I don't know.
As long as we don't run into any traps.
You jerk.
Okay. So if anybody has anything they would like to do before leaving town, you can. Otherwise, we can set off.
Roland would like to know if the Crimson Watch ever takes any animals with them.
So from what you've seen, you haven't seen any animals with any of the Crimson Watch. But you've only seen the Crimson Watch dead on the side of the road and the ones in the hideout.
Well, could I ask Snap or Beanbop?
Yeah. So when you ask Snap, he goes, I don't remember hearing any sounds. Maybe a dog barking. I'm not sure.
Roland just walks away.
All right. Um, okay, yeah. So Snap, you guys head off from Phandalin, and it is blistering, sweltering heat. Um, you are exerting yourselves. Snap leads you through. He leads you off the trail leading northwest out of town, and veers off the trail into the woods. Um, he's cutting his way, trailblazing his own little beaten paths, and you travel for the entirety of the day, late into the evening, until at which point you're forced to break camp for night. And anything particular anyone wants to do for the evening?
I'll cast Druidcraft to see what the weather will be like tomorrow.
And as you're doing this, Lorimer looks at you and he says, "I swear, tell me what the weather is and you can't do a thing about it. I'm going to punch you in the face." And then just kind of walks off.
So tomorrow, you realize it's going to be even hotter. So today the temperature was low to mid 90s, and you feel that tomorrow is going to crest into triple digits with about 60 to 70% humidity. So have fun. So the event, you guys want to do Snap and Beam cover guard for half the night? I assume you guys just want to do some sort of watch as well?
Yeah, I'll take the other half.
Okay. And then we'll have one more cover watch as well.
Yeah, I just need 4 hours of trance, and then I'll take the other.
All right. So, quiet night. Nothing happens. You guys embark early morning. Snap wakes early, gets everyone ready to roll out, and you have another day. This one is more miserable. You notice as you travel through the woods, you're starting to get on a little more traveled trails, kind of like a little animal path, as if Snap has traveled this trail multiple times, kind of forged a path. Until this morning, you had been in general wooded terrain with some rolling hills, but now you notice that the foliage is getting much greener and it's getting thick and starting to have more pronounced hills, and you see mountains in the distance. And you are traveling all day until it starts to get dark. Snap looks back at everyone and says, if we go another hour or so, we can make it, unless you would rather wait till during the day.
I think we need to go in at night.
All right. And so Snap's like, so what's when we arrive? What's the plan? How do we want to handle this?
Well, we've got the capes. Gamesh, I can make it so that you won't be seen.
Ah, nice.
As long as you
What about Herd?
As long as you can keep your comments to yourself.
Oh, the sneaky mesh.
The sneaky Gamesh. So for some reason, I don't think this is a very good idea. So we're going straight in the front, or we're going in from the back?
Snap looks up at you and goes, "There's a front entryway. It's usually blocked doors covered by sentries. I've had no problem getting through before. If we're transporting a prisoner or a group of Crimson Watch coming through, we should have no issue."
Well,
he looks up and says, "I don't normally travel with Crimson Watch, though. They usually keep to themselves. Perhaps we shouldn't arrive together."
We could send the goblins first to kind of distract them.
Gamesh,
And,
you might actually make a perfect prisoner.
I just kind of nod to him. And I would take my maul off my back and offer it towards one of them and like give them this look and say like, you guard this with your life.
so Beanbop reaches out and grabs this maul, and he kind of lashes it with some leather, secures it to his back, and the head of the maul is nestled about where his butt is, and the handle extends a good foot and a half or two above his head, and he gladly takes it. And you snap. And you guys are still traveling, just discussing as you walk. He goes, "Actually, on second thought, if there's anything you wouldn't want found, you'd like for me to sneak into the castle for you to access once we're in there, I could do that as well and follow behind you."
Well, I think if we come in dressed as Crimson Watch, they would be expecting us to have weapons, so that wouldn't be unusual.
So I'm gonna like stash my little bag that I keep with my valuables inside the inside of my armor.
Okay.
And
And
then I just hold my hands out like
So
binding
it-
type thing.
okay, good. So they tie you up real tight with some leather lashings and rope. And as you guys keep traveling, Sildar or Snap comes and looks at each one of you, and Roland and everyone really kind of signals. He's like, "Pull your cloaks far down, far as I've seen. All the watch were human." Points at Lorimar, and Roland says, "You two might pass." And he kind of looks over at Thor. He goes, "Just stay to the shadows."
Well, Thor's got a disguise kit. I think he's gonna kind of break it out.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So
Use it on himself.
good. Yeah. So while you guys are traveling, you can use that, no problem. Who do you look like?
Just make himself more human. Put the skin tone more flesh colored.
Thor,
And
don't
you've got
forget, you've got that makeup kit as well.
Yeah, you do have some
Feel
makeup.
free to use that liberally.
Thor is very careful to distinguish the disguise kit from the makeup kit.
Okay.
I look at
All
Lorimar
right.
right before we go, and I say it would probably be wise if Solarian circled above. It might give us
Thor,
away.
roll me a d6, Thor.
Where are we?
I'm praying for you inwardly.
5.
Oh, okay. So let me do one thing. All right, you lucked out. Okay, so we're all good. You didn't mistakenly grab one of the makeup kits. So you guys travel near another hour. Snap halts you all, and you can see through the wood line. You can make out a faint figure. You see a large stone castle. Looking around you, you are deep into the forest itself. You can see why this thing was unknown and unheard of. It's as you got closer, the terrain got much more difficult to traverse. And as you look at the castle itself, you realize that it is over 200 feet long and like 100 feet wide. It's a massive tower with, or a massive castle with over 7 little parapets on the top part of it. As Snap leads you to the very edge of the clearing, you see that The castle itself is in an awful state of disrepair. Looks like it's been there for decades upon decades. All of the towers have started to crumble and renders the upper floors just unusable, collapsing in on themselves. You notice some wings of the ground floor have fallen in on themselves as well, and the other parts that are weak are reinforced with timber and crude repairs. So you also notice there are arrow slits bordering the entire perimeter of the castle. And Snap heads out onto the main road, looks back behind you all and says, well, you want to give it a shot?
All right,
Of course.
let's send him in. We'll
All
come
right.
in a few minutes
So
after you.
So, so you guys are going in after Snap and Beanbop?
We're gonna let them go first. Maybe I don't know, like 5-10 minutes first. Is that the
Okay.
plan?
Okay. So Snap and Beanbop, they look at you all and go. Snap goes, "We'll meet you inside." And they walk in, and you see them go up to the front gate. So the front gate looks like it's a long dirt road leading up to the narrow end of the castle. You see there are two stairways to the left and right that lead up a little 10-foot platform to an opening that is the front gates. You notice that Beanbop and Snap walk in, and 10 minutes pass.
All right. It's now or never.
All right.
We gotta get your mall back anyway.
Just act like you're supposed to be here, guys.
Just I don't know, walk casual. All right, let's go in. I think we'd start walking
So
up
you
with.
guys- Oh, sorry, I was zoned out for a moment. I was listening though.
Walk up with Gamesh and kind of in front of us, like he's our prisoner.
Yeah, so Gamesh is in front. What's the other order?
I am all the way in the back.
That leaves me in the middle.
Or cool. All right. So you guys get near the castle, and you approach the entranceway. You make it to the stairs. You notice that where the gate was, or where the opening for the gate, it had bronze-covered, like wooden reinforced doors that have been knocked off their hinges. You notice that one of them is in splinters, and the other has been ripped off the hinges. And as you travel up the stairway, as soon as you turn and you see through the gate, you notice that you have a clear view through a cracked door, and you see off in the distance, maybe 40 feet through that door, flickering blue flames. But the room the room right through the gate is about 20 feet to the left and 20 feet to the right, 10 feet in front of you with a solid wall, and you see nothing nothing other than the broken doors. So if you travel to the left or right, you could get to some of the other doors.
Does this blue flame look familiar?
Yeah, it looks exactly like the one that you guys were all just covered in back at the orc camp. Do you not remember getting just engulfed?
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, they dropped everyone.
I was wondering
And,
if it was like the flame I saw in my dream, if that's what you meant, but it was okay.
That's what I was going to get at next. Anyone who has had the vision would recognize this blue flame. So the vision itself, up to this point, would have felt like a bad dream, but seeing this makes you realize, wait a second, that's exactly what I saw.
Just kind of look around,
And,
it's like we're meant to be here.
Lorimar, if Lorimar would, which I think he would, you can roll me a history check to see if you would recognize or know significance to this flame.
Probably not.
It's blue.
Okay. Okay. So you do recall that you historically you remember that blue fire was pretty huge, but you can't quite put your tongue on or can't quite put your finger on why exactly it's significant in your mind right now. You just know that, hey, that's something big.
Okay. It's Lorimar, so he probably would have put his tongue on it. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, so you guys have so you're in this long room. Directly in front of you is the door that's cracked with blue fire beyond it, and then you could go off to either side, left or right, to a door as well.
There's no goblins or anybody in
So
there.
you don't see any. You don't see anything right now. You don't hear anything either.
Is there anything burning in the blue flames?
So the door is cracked right now. All you can see is just the glimmers of the blue fire. You can't. It's so far off you can't quite tell yet.
I think that's
Because what's that?
So it's cracked, but is it like open? Like cracked like open? Or...
Oh yeah, like the door is ajar.
Oh, okay.
Lorimar would start heading that way, towards this the blue flame.
As you start to enter the room right at the front of the gate, that door opens in towards where the flame is, and standing in the doorway is a goblin with two goblins behind him. You notice they have a fresh, the one standing in the doorway on his upper left shoulder has a burn mark, like a fresh brand mark in the shape of a spider. And he looks up at you, and he kind of cocks his head to the side, and he reaches to a dagger on his hip.
Hold! We brought a prisoner. King Tab.
And as soon as you say this, like immediately he was caught attention by your cloak, and then he looks up and sees Gamash, and he begins to spin around to his side, and he raises his hands back to like he's gonna shout something. And I will give Lorimar the moment. You're up front, so you get the moment to do one reaction before he just shouts.
A reaction or an action?
Any like one action,
Action.
like whatever you want.
All right, we're casting a spell. On the entire group.
Yeah, they're all right there in the doorway, and they. So this was in trigger. As soon as he saw Gamash, he turned around.
As soon as I see him turn around, I am just going to start casting a spell. And they all need to make... Let's see... Hold on 1 second.
If it's sleep, we all know how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, right, it is. I'm just trying to see what the saving throw is that they have to make. Hold on, I'm going to look it up.
I believe it's wisdom, isn't it?
I think it is, too.
Oh, I've got it right here. Sleep is a... No, it's like the HP. So,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So you get 5d8 plus 2 extra per spell level for their HP.
8. We're going to go ahead and cast this as a higher level spell. And 12, 14. 38 hit points worth.
So,
All right.
what does this look like?
So as if just this energy, like a sparkling energy, just kind of like leaps from my hand and just engulfs the group, and any of the creatures that would be affected would just immediately fall asleep and just drop to the ground.
Yeah, so you notice that as they're engulfed in this energy, the one who was turning to shout, he kind of arced his head back to shout, and he just keeps leaning back, and he just falls flat on his back. The one directly behind him just slumps to the ground. And the remaining one who is standing off to the side, you notice he kind of like lowers his head for a moment, and he just raises his hand to his head like he's feeling very groggy. And he's dazed for a moment. So you guys can all have just like a second or two to pick what you want to do.
I would just quickly say, remember, these are goblins. They may not be our enemies.
I'm just looking up a rule quickly for a spell.
I think Thor would just kind of like dash over to him and put his hand like around his mouth and just kind of like put him in a sleeper hold till he went to sleep.
Cool. Yeah. So he struggles briefly. He's still kind of groggy. But you notice as he slumps to the ground, he also has a fresh brand mark on his left shoulder in the shape of a spider. So you've subdued these guys. They're all laying slumped on the ground. As you cross through this doorway, you notice that you are in a L-shaped hallway. There's a door to your left, and the hallway in front of you keeps extending down. The door itself, further about 20 feet down the hallway, the actual door frame is what you see engulfed in flame. No door is there. It's the actual door frame itself that is just continuing to burn despite like no timber or fuel, as if the stone itself is burning.
Can I check the pocket of all of the goblins?
Yeah, so they're all just wearing crude leather pants with no pockets, and just like linen shirts. They're not wearing anything special.
All right.
Thor is gonna say to Lorimar, how do you know what he was gonna shout? Maybe he was gonna let us through. Maybe there's traps up here or something they were gonna disable.
I couldn't take that chance. We've seen no sign of Beanbop or Snap.
Well, let's be careful.
Is this door, is it like a wall of flame, or is it just like the outline of the door? Could we walk through?
Yeah. So it's rimming the door frame right now. So if you carefully like worked your way through, you think you could not get burned by the fire.
And do we see anything on the other side?
So you're approaching the doorway?
I think that's the.
This is a L-shaped room, right? Or hallway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's the one in front of you, and then there's a doorway to your left.
And which one's the one that's got the fire?
The one in front of you.
I'm gonna go up to the one on the left and see if it's unlocked.
It is unlocked, and it opens up to a storeroom. There's no door in it, but you notice there are 8 different barrels and a few boxes. The barrels are large barrels of oil, and the boxes are full of like folded cloth.
Would it be possible to like cast out my mind and try and find where our goblin friends went?
It would be.
Okay, I'll attempt that. But do I need to make some sort of a roll?
No. You describe kind of what you're doing for me.
So you'd see Gamash's eyes like close in concentration, and kind of like a rubber band almost, he's stretching his mind outwards over an area to try and like find where these familiar minds are.
Yeah, so you cast your mind out, and you feel as you're traveling through the castle, you feel resistance in one area, and you don't try to force yourself through it, but it's a solid force that you can't like cast your mind towards, and then it disappears, and your mind can fill the rest of the castle, and you know that it fills through that doorway, and farther off to the right would be, you feel the presence of Bean Bop and Snap both in the same area.
Through the burning door.
Yeah.
I convey all of this, including the area of magical barrier.
Where was that area of magical barrier?
So it was through the blue door and off to the left.
Okay.
While he was kind of reaching his mind out, I'm dragging these goblin bodies into this storeroom.
Cool. Yeah, and they're out so that you can do that no difficulty.
All right. Well,
Do we go through the door?
we either go back or we go through or keep on forward.
Gamash walks up to the door, offering himself first. And
Alright.
he'll walk through.
Lorimer
Alright,
right behind.
Mash. You have to hunk yourself down and get through the door without touching any of the flames. Lorimar Solarian's still circling outside, right?
Yes, Solarian is
Okay.
still outside.
So Lorimar, you are following Gamash, and as you approach the doorway and as you're going through it, you feel just this burning sensation on your chest. You look down to see if you touched anything, and you realize that you didn't touch any fire, but you just feel like this burning sensation right in the upper center of your chest, and creeping out from the neckline of your studded armor, you notice there's small little glowing blue lines that are like underneath your skin.
Can I like move my armor and see what's
Yeah,
going
if you pull it forward, you can see down further that the lines actually extend from this focal point in the center of your chest. And all of you know right now is it's this intense burning.
Nothing's happening to me, right?
No, nothing. And as you continue through the door, you notice as you're passing, like as you get on the other side of the door, the further away from the flames you get, it starts to dissipate.
Wow.
Thor, if you follow behind him, you feel the same thing. Yours is burning middle of your chest under the armor. You look, if you would look, you would see the exact same thing until you cross to the other side of the door. Roland, you do not feel it. And now you guys find yourself on the other side of this door. You are now in a large square room. This is 50 by 50 feet. You notice immediately to your left is an open hallway that leads to another room, and in a back right corner of the room there's a door.
And that's where I sensed Snap and Beanbop, right?
Yeah, so that open doorway to the left, you sensed that presence or that block, and the back door was where you felt Bean Bop and Snap. If you were to look closer, As you go into the room, you notice that I forgot this part. It's kind of key. As soon as you crested through the doorway, this large room, you notice piles of bodies strewn out in various areas across the room. The closest to you, you see, is an orc that has a sword stabbed in its chest as it's laying sprawled out on the ground. Looking throughout the room, you see just a whole macabre scene of goblin bodies cut and hacked. Some are burned. You see drow bodies, again, cut, hacked, burned, arrows. You notice there are 2 dragonborn amongst them. One has been burnt all the way down to the bottom part of its torso, where the upper part is so charred you only recognize it's a dragonborn because of its clawed feet. The other one is laying underneath the body of a giant spider. And you notice that just all throughout the room, it's this scene of wreckage.
Do I know either of these Dragonborn?
So you can't recognize the burnt one, but you can't see the other one because it's under a spider.
I would approach the one beneath the spider, trying to see who it was.
All right. So you're gonna pick up the body and move it.
Yeah, I just like kick the spider body off of it.
So you notice that this is not one you recognize. You don't recognize him as a member of the Skyrix's clan. You actually notice that this is not even a blue dragonborn. You couldn't tell from the feet. You just saw the bottom side of the lighter colored scales. This is a dark green dragonborn.
Kind of cock my head to the side. Are they very common here?
So not common.
So I'd be very, very confused at this.
That is to be expected.
I look over at Gamesh and just ask, "Where did you feel Beanbop and Snap?"
I just kind of like tilt my head to the side towards the door and start walking over there.
Does this
Think
room
that's where
look,
it starts.
does this room look like there was a battle in this room, or was the bodies brought?
Oh yeah. No, this room itself, you see scorch marks and dropped weapons, and the battle raged here.
I'm gonna say it looks like somebody was protecting something here.
All right.
Where do you think we go? Do we head towards that void?
No, let's get our allies first.
Did Gamesh sense Gundren at all?
No, the only recognizable things he sensed was the that blocking force, and then he caught sight of Beanbop and Snap.
All right. I think that's where we start. Plus, I'd rather Gamesh have a weapon in his hand if this gets ugly.
So, seeing as there's no one around, I'm gonna break the leather bands around my wrists. Can I just break them, or do you want me to make
No, yeah, you break them.
And I hold my hand out to the side, and this shadow would coalesce into a great sword in my hand.
And you hear rustling. You hear some clattering off to your left. And you hear some movement begin in the room to your left, as if it's heading your direction.
Thor is gonna go to the door where Beanbop was and see if it's unlocked.
I cast
All right,
Armor of
what's
Shadows.
everyone else doing? Okay.
Yeah, Roland will cast Dark Skin.
All right.
And Lorimar's just going to try to get off to the side and maybe make himself as inconspicuous as possible. Try to hide.
Okay. Thor, you see the door is unlocked. You two get your armor up, and Lormar, you kind of work your way to a little alcove in the wall by Thor. It's not like an opening; it's just where a pillar is. You're kind of beside it.
All right.
And yeah, Thor. So the door is unlocked. You can go right through, and you notice that it opens to a small room with a set of stairs leading down.
I'm gonna stop within this little doorway at like the top of the stairs and turn back to see what's coming down the other way.
Yeah. So you hear this rustling. Gamash, you're closest now with Roland, and you hear as if someone's approaching, and you begin to see a shadow, as if the room itself is lit, and they're moving towards the darker room with you. You notice the shadow stops just shy of the concealment within this room, and in the back left corner of the room, the opposite wall, a panel slides. And you notice that out from it charges a drow warrior with solid plate armor. This plate armor is rimmed with a glowing purple trim, and it looks kind of like Spider-Man's outfit. The entire armor, the glowing trim, is arranged in series of webs with ornately decorated spiders. He's pulling out a longsword, and he begins running into the room. And we will roll initiative.
Oh, nice.
It's a trap. Oh.
It's a 9 for Laura.
Okay.
18.
Nice.
I got 16.
And I got 15.
All right, and Thor?
15.
Good. Good. And 9 for Lorimar, right?
Right. And yeah. Are there any like holes in the ceiling? You said this was crumbling. Is this
Yeah, we can say that you could like cast out your intent for Solarian, and in one round she can kind of weasel her way through.
all right, I'm gonna roll some initiative for her as well then. Say 7.
All right, so we got our order in the chat, and we're starting off. So just to get this clear, you guys are in a 45 by 45 foot square room. Thor, you are in the back right corner, through the doorway. Along that wall is Lorimar. Gamash and Roland, you are in the center of the southern wall, middle of the room. To your left, in the far left corner, is an opening where you saw this shadow moving, and ahead of you in the top left corner is this drow warrior charging in. As he charges in, you see this black and glowing purple armor as he pulls out a gigantic longsword. His long white hair blowing behind him. He's got one long braid hanging down the right side of his face as his eyes glow red. He charges Roland and strikes with his longsword. And oh yeah, that'll do it. So Roland, he hits you hard with this sword. You will take. Oh wow, that was lucky. You'll take 5 points of damage.
All right.
As he's swinging it and doesn't connect with a solid blow. He just kind of scrapes the front part of your chest, taking a little gash out of you. And you notice that immediately after, he kind of raises his hand in your face, and you're engulfed in darkness. And so Gamash and Roland, you guys are engulfed in darkness, you can't see anything around you. You hear shuffling to your left, where you heard the sounds earlier. And Thor and Lormar, you see coming out of the corner there an older drow male with long, well-groomed white hair held back with a tie, and he's got very flowing, ornately decorated robes. In the middle of his chest is a large, glowing purple spider. He raises a little stick out of the sleeve of his robe, points it in your way, at your way, and where's my dice? And Lorimar, you notice that from the little stick, a streak of ice comes shooting your way, impacts the wall mere inches away from your face. And Gamash, it's your turn.
Okay, so let's see. So I can't see this drow because of the darkness. So I am going to start whispering in Draconic. Have him
Okay.
make a wisdom save. DC 15.
All right. So let me get his wisdom. Oh, 15. Dang.
Okay, nice. Alright, so essentially, he is going to take 3d6, half of this. Okay, yeah. Okay.
And while you're doing the math, it's been so long since I played a caster. What breaks concentration again?
Concentration, so when you hit them, they make a con save, which is either 10 or half of the damage dealt, whichever is higher.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so he will take instead 6 damage, and he doesn't have to use his reaction run away.
So 6 damage to him. Perfect.
So in his mind, he would just hear this like echoing voice, like everywhere around him, but yet nowhere at all, just like whispering in his ears. And it would just like his head would start to ring with pain.
All right. And you hear a groan just, from within the darkness, and that's all you can gather within this misty cloud. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Roland, you have just been slashed across the chest. You're engulfed in darkness. You hear a groan in front of you. What do you do?
Alright. As a bonus action, I'm just gonna kind of coil up, and although this is totally hidden in darkness, I am wild shaping into a snake.
Okay.
And snakes have blind sight, so just through sticking out my tongue, I'm able to
Nice.
tell exactly how far away this.
Yeah, you get kind of like that vision from Pitch Black with Riddick. You can kind of see like that image in front of you, clear as day.
So he's still right in front of me?
Yeah.
Alright. Then I'm gonna lunge out and attempt to. Oh, I'll see if I hit or not. Probably what I do. I will not hit. I will just try to sense where he is, but striking out, I will miss.
Yeah. So you get a picture of where he is. Still a little disoriented by the darkness. And Thor, what do we got?
So can Thor see either one of these drow?
So you see the cloud of darkness. You notice that the mage, if you just peek your head out from the door, you can see him in the far diagonal corner of the room, and he's looking at Lorimar along the wall.
Hmm. You know what? I'm gonna go for it. At this point, Thor is gonna step out from the doorway, and he's gonna cast levitate on this mage with a DC 11 concentration.
All right. So so he rolls a 6. So what do we look like here?
How tall is the ceilings here?
About 20 feet tall.
So Thor jumps out from behind the doorway, casts levitate on him, and you see the mage rise up to about 12 to 15 feet, just in space, just so he can't touch anything around him. No wall, ceiling, can't push off anything.
All right.
He's just kind of there floating.
Nice.
Nice.
And that lasts until you break it. There's no sort of save check, right?
Yeah, there's concentration for me. Yeah, and he can only push off objects.
Nice. So he's not alarmed. You can tell this guy's very well versed in Arcana. He recognizes what is happening, so he keeps his cool, and he's just kind of floating there. And you got anything else?
No, I'm going to stay back and kind of in the doorway there.
Lorimar, let's hear it.
All right, so Lorimar seeing this mage, recognizing that he is the true threat. You just hear this song just start emanating from Lorimar. He seems to be a little bit lighter on his feet. And then these three magic orbs just come flying out and slam into the mage that's hanging there in the air.
All right. So you can roll the damage for that for me.
And that is 10 damage.
Very nice. So these orbs come flying out, and it's an easy target. He's just floating there in the air. They all just impact directly on him. And we'll say next round, Solarian can make it in there.
Okay.
And until then, we are back to the drow. So this Roland, you with your blind sight, you see this drow looking around him, and he kind of just takes one step forward, and in a wide arc along the ground, he swings his sword. All right. So I took him at disadvantage, and he had a 20 and a 19. So it wasn't two 20s.
Wow.
Dave, as he swings his sword, you just see Lorimar just recognizing the threat. He just reaches out his hand, and the weapon just explodes in his hand.
Nice. All right. So
as I'm using my inspiration card.
Perfect. Yeah, Roland, you see this, and then as it's coming to hit you, the blade just shatters and pieces go flying as the hilt continues the path and just is a few inches shy from even touching your figure. And the warrior feels this, and he drops that on the ground. And he starts backing up into the middle of the room, and pulls out a hand crossbow, and he just fires into the darkness. And let's see. Oh god! All right, hold on. So he's gonna roll on our fumble chart of doom.
Uh-oh.
Question: is it his darkness?
It is, yes.
Because I don't think he has to roll a disadvantage in his own darkness.
There's
Plus he's
something else going on.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's not his darkness.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah. All right, so he's gonna roll on this chart, and oh man, good God! So the fires this crossbow, and as it enters the darkness, something in it repels the bolt, which comes shooting directly back at him, and damages him. All right. So, so you just see this guy back into the room, shoots a crossbow, comes out, sinks into his chest. Then Thor, since you've been looking at this mage, you see him just kind of close his bow his head, and he puts his hand grasping this amulet. You notice him holding his hand out in front, and it appears like there's just a small purple spark that appears in the middle of his hand. And it gradually starts growing in color. Oh. All right. And this spark grows and it grows. His hand is engulfed in this ball of flame that is just building and building and building. And so he's got this gigantic purple fireball on his hand. And then all of a sudden, from the very middle of that fireball, you see blackness just start to engulf it. So the blackness spreads until his flame is covered, or his hand is covered in black fire. And he shoots this fire onto the ground, which opens into a small portal. And this circle of black on the floor, you notice coming up from it, you see two small spikes. These spikes continue to grow, and then two more spikes appear on the side of it, and they're coming up from the ground. The two middle spikes begin to look like horns. The two outer spikes look like the tips of wings, and this blackness just keeps rising and rising as you start to see glowing eyes and fanged teeth. You see this demonic, beastly face rise from the circle on the ground until, as you watch, you notice looming 9 feet overhead, this shadowy demon floating in the middle of the room. And this mage is floating in the air, still holding his hand forward. And distracted by this, you fail to notice that in the back left corner of the room, a female pops out from the corner, just slinks herself out. And Thor, you're engulfed in darkness. Gamash, it's your turn.
Okay, so can I sense this warrior has left his darkness?
Yeah, you hear a bunch going on around you, and you sense that a form just left the circle away from you.
Okay.
So you just hear sparkling and crackling. You smell the smell of brimstone appear.
So I'm gonna step out of the darkness following him.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
kind
you
of
find
just
yourself
smile.
face to face.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I just smile down at him, and I raise the greatsword over my head and bring it crashing down. Oh.
On the warrior.
Yes.
Cool. Doesn't work.
I miss.
You can narrate that for me.
Oh wait, I'm using inspiration.
Cool. Is it the flat inspiration card?
Yep. Come on,
There you
please. Okay. All right. So that is a. Where's my character sheet? That is a 16. Does that hit?
That does hit. Yeah.
All right. And this is magical, so it undercuts any resistances he has. So that would be a total of 9 damage.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, sinks deep into him. You see him kind of just like burning appear around the slash mark as the sword's on his skin there. Let's see, who else do we got? It's all the way up here. Roland, you're up.
All right. Roland, still snake form. He's gonna follow. Probably first the heat off of the Drow Warrior, and then off of the big Dragonborn. And you see this, snake tail pop out of the darkness, and then quickly pop back in, and then you think you see it re-emerge, but really it's the coil of a whip, as Roland has wild shaped back into his druid form, and he's gonna step out of the darkness just in time to make eye contact, and hope that he can hit in elf form a little bit better than snake. And that is a natural 20.
All right. Max damage and then roll as normal. We'll roll once more, see if you crit again.
All right. 12 the second time. My question is, my whip does 1d6 piercing and then 1d8 poison.
Yeah.
Is it max in both of those?
Yeah, max them both and then roll them both again.
Okay. So that's already gonna be 17 damage. Plus another 6. Plus 4, so 27 damage.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So you can describe this hit for me.
Yeah, and so not wanting to miss, Roland is just gonna throw the whip, just trying to hit the body, but his aim is slightly off, and instead he wraps the whip around the neck, and you see the thorns of the whip actually dig into the veins of his neck, and you just see poison begin to almost deal like flesh burning damage as it enters into this drow's bloodstream.
Yeah, and as you do this, those thorns sink into his neck. This drow grasps at it, and he drops to his knee. You see the poison spreading down his neck as he's struggling against it. And Thor, what do we got? You are engulfed in darkness.
Engulfed in darkness. Thor's probably gonna move towards that girl that he saw just before he was engulfed in darkness. He's gonna move ahead 10 feet and see if he's not too trained in magic, so he doesn't know if this is just an area spell or it's around him, so he's gonna move 10 feet towards this girl and see if he's still engulfed in darkness.
So you moving 10 feet, you realize that you're still in darkness there, so you're 10 feet inside that room.
Does he still got concentration on the levitate spell in darkness?
Yeah, so you can still you can still keep that up.
At this point, I think Thor is just gonna try to get against the wall, go up to the wall, kind of feel against the wall and kind of stay back, like in the back of the room.
Okay, yeah, kind of going back to that doorway.
Yeah, back to the doorway.
Cool. Yeah, so you make it back there, no problem. You're back in the room with the stairway. And is that it?
That is it.
Lorimar, up to you.
How far away is Gamesh?
So Gamesh is about 20 feet away from you right now.
Could I? I've got a movement of 40 right now. Could I make it to him without, you know, encountering any other enemies, that type of thing?
Yeah, you could make it all the way across the room, kind of weaving your way through. You would come close to the demon, but you can be like 10 feet away from him.
Okay, yeah. I'm running over, and then I'm just putting my hand on Gamesh, and I just start chanting. And as when I'm done, you just see Gamesh just. You thought that you saw the largest dragonborn you've ever seen, but you realize now that you have seen the largest dragonborn that you have ever seen, as I cast Enlarge on Gamesh, and he just grows into a large-sized creature now.
I'm a real dragon.
Nice. So
My
Gamesh,
greatsword
you,
grows in size with me as well, because it's magical. So it's
yeah, yeah, and now you're towering over 10 feet. You're equal on size with this 10-foot shadow demon now.
yes.
And if that's it for your turn, then Lorimar, you notice Solarian burst through an opening in the rubble of the ceiling.
So you see Solarian just come bursting through, and like looking around. At first, she's not exactly sure where to go, but then she just keys in on what she perceives as another like flying creature, and it's this wizard who's just floating in the air, and it just she just darts right towards him. Let's see. And she comes in, just like teeth bared. Yeah, that would be a 8. No, I'm 10.
All right. So yeah, takes some significant damage from this, but most importantly, anyone who is looking would notice that as Solarian takes this swipe at him, the mage, his hand falters and lowers, and you see this glowing fireball just disappear off of his hand. As this fireball disappears, you notice the demon kind of just like raises to a little bit larger height, and Gamash, it turns to you, sees this big guy, and it comes up. Takes a large swipe with these long claws, and they hit you and do 11 points of damage.
Okay. So as it hits me, I need this son of a gun to make a a dexterity saving throw, DC 15.
1.
Is that like nat 1?
Nat 1, yeah.
Okay. I will take it. Okay, so he's gonna take this full brunt of damage. Come on, go big. Ooh, that's a 10. That's enough. That's okay. So he takes 17 plus 3, 20 damage.
All right. So what's going on here? This shadow demon just rakes its claws across you.
you see the armor that it rakes. It's like the shadowy armor. Kind of it ignites in this, and like it spreads off of my body and ignites in this like brilliant kind of purple flame that engulfs the creature, and it just like it burns like parts of it away as I use Hellish Rebuke essentially.
So as you do this, you hear a voice just in your mind appear and goes, "I know flames worse than that." And the priestess begins to walk forward into the room, and she comes forward to Roland. She walks towards you. She's about 5 feet behind the warrior that you've got on the knees right now, and let's see, wrong part. There you go. You notice she raises her hand, and a like sickly green bolt comes arcing towards you, and hits you square in the chest. And let's see what we got for this. I can find my notes. Okay, so you take 10 points of necrotic damage as this black green just spreads in a little circle on your chest on impact. And now we are back to Gamash.
Alright, so 2 things I'm going to do real quickly. First, I'm going to use Heroic Vigor, which gives me 8 temporary hit points. And then I am going to, let me see, what spells do I have? Okay. So now I look at this demon who's spoken to my mind, and I speak into his mind now, saying, "I may not have the strongest flames, but I do have the strongest sword." And I raise my greatsword over my hand to bring it slamming down on him. Okay. Come on. Ah! Why, dice? Why do you fail me? Okay, well, that's a 13.
And
Unless I get any
enlarge
bonus.
reduce is enlarge reduce gives you advantage on strength saving throws, right?
Yeah, and an additional damage.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll say that you this sword comes just streaking down. This demon shoots its clawed hand up and grasps the blade. You smell burning as his hand's clearly taking damage from grasping the blade, but he catches it and just looks at you, and you hear in your voice this telepathic, just deep laughing. And Roland, you got this guy on his knees with your thorn whip, and you just had necrotic damage blast you in the chest.
Yeah, so far so good, unless you're Roland. One second, looking something up. All right. Roland, after taking this damage right in the chest, he's gonna take a moment to grasp his chest, which ironically hit right where the medallion normally hits, and at this point he's gonna use the inspiration card, the nature's power, and as he removes his hand, this big thunderous force is gonna come out as he's gonna cast Thunder Wave in the direction of the guy on his knees, the princess, and the demon, and try to make a mess, but friendly fire happens.
That's all right. That's all right. He can take it.
And so that's going to be
So-
a Constitution saving throw. DC 16.
Ooh.
All right. So
Nat
the
20!
the warrior makes a nat 1. The priestess makes a 5, and you said that was a con save.
Yep.
The demon makes a 15, so they all fail it, and they take what?
All right. They are going to take 7 damage, and they're all going to be pushed back 10 feet. Oh wait, never mind. I get to roll one more d8 also. So they're going to take 14 damage.
Nice.
I should add one die roll, double damages.
Wait, do I take half of that?
Were you in the blast?
Probably.
Yeah, then you'd just take 7, and you would not be moved out of the way.
So you manage to drop the warrior, and you can describe what it looks like as this priestess and demon both get blasted back.
I'm gonna angle my blast so that the warrior goes straight through the shadow demon, and so as he gets enveloped by the shadow demon, he takes that nice necrotic damage, and he comes out just a skeleton of what he once was.
Awesome.
And then as a bonus action, kind of hidden by this big blast of thunder, when everything clears up, you see a bison just standing there.
Nice.
Very cool. Awesome. Thor, what do you got?
How far away is this mage that I'm holding in the air from me?
So from you, he's about 30 feet diagonal across the room, beyond all this fray in the middle.
Okay. I'm gonna move about 15 feet into the middle of the room to get better sense of what's going on, listening, since I'm still engulfed in darkness. And for my action, I can move him, and I'm gonna move him 15 feet into the middle of the room, kind of like right next to me.
Yeah, so you're about 10 feet from him, and then like in a little triangle, you guys are 2 points, and about 10 feet above all of you is the priestess and the demon and that whole fray right there, the skeleton of the warrior.
And that'll do it for my turn.
Cool. Lorimar, what do we got?
So, I don't think this takes an action or a bonus action. I think it's like a reaction. Lorimar is just going to use one of his inspiration cards, and everyone just feels like they've just rested for at least an hour, as everyone would get the benefits of a short rest.
Yeah. As you guys see,
use
as
hit
you
dice,
see
right?
this, yeah.
Sweet.
So you guys can use any hit dice you want. Anything you regain from a short rest, you get. And as you all see, Roland just blast this huge armored warrior, and you see him just destroyed by the demon on his side. It invigorates all of you and makes you feel that you have a fighting chance now, and you're ready to go at it.
And how are these three grouped? Like, how close are they together?
So the demon is about 10 feet away from Thor. 10 feet below him, in like a triangle, is the mage, and the priestess is just 5 feet away from him.
All right. Well then, let's see if this will work. It's worked once. Yeah, so I'm going to just appear, like, kind of right in the middle of this group, no more than 15 feet away from any of them, and I just kind of, like, pound my fist on the ground, like Thor style, and this just wave of thunderous energy just like flies out from me. And go ahead and make a con save.
All right. So the mage rolls a 15.
He
Would
made it.
would I be hit with this too? Middle
I
of
think he could position himself where you wouldn't hit it.
Okay.
You'll need to. But,
And me either, right? Because they pushed him
yeah,
10 feet away from me.
Right, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you could arrange it where it's the enemy.
Yeah, that was part of the plan. That's why I did it.
So
Way to think ahead, man. Way to go.
15 for the priest. And what's that demon? 14 for the demon as well. So what was the DC? 16?
No, 14.
Oh, so... Oh, yeah, so they all make it, so we'll do half of what...
All right, so they all get half damage. And they don't go anywhere. So they all take 2 points of damage. And I just kind of look over at this bison and just kind of shake my head in shame, as I clearly did not do it as well as Roland.
But, what can Solarian do for you?
Solarian is just going to just try to latch on to this floating mage, getting her bearings in the room and just start attempting to claw into him. Yes. All right, so it's a 19 and 4 points of damage from her claws.
All right, so Solarian takes another good chunk, oh man, out of this guy, and you notice that the demon turns itself just intent upon Gamash, and moves close to just do another strike with its claws, and Gamash comes in and it thrusts its hand forward, and the shadowy claws, they pierce into you, and more incorporeal, like they don't pierce the skin, but the essence reaches inside of you, and you take 13 points of damage.
Oh.
As you feel just
Make
like
another deck save.
these claws. Ah, nice.
I get all my stuff
3.
back with a short
little
rest.
better. Nice. So, what does it do with that deck save again?
I'm casting Hellish Rebuke again, so the same thing, just this purple cloud of flame just erupts from my chest. And it'll take a total of 15 this time.
Nice. Perfect. So, you feel these claws just pierce like into your chest, and this flame travels up the arm and engulfs the body of this demon. And this time you hear like a grinding screech that's otherworldly come from its body as it pulls its claws back. The mage, who has been moved, lowers his hands down, and you see. Let me make sure I'm okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Lowers his hands down, and you notice on your there's this blue, crackling, arcing energy that just blasts straight out from his hands and hits Gamash square on the back for 9 points of damage.
Ow!
Hey, that's what happens when you're 10 feet tall. Um, and
Gamesh, don't
this,
forget
this.
what's in your pouch.
Let's see, where are we at? Where's that stats? All right, yeah. So this priestess, you notice she's pushed back, and she turns toward this new buffalo. Just runs her hand across, and this spray of green liquid covers you, Roland. You're gonna need to make a con save.
Uh,
And
unmodified 19. Yeah, I think I made it.
okay, so yeah, this green spray comes out and just soaks you, but your buffalo your buffalo fur is so thick you get the smell of like singed hair, and you notice that clumps of hair are falling off of you, but you don't take any damage from it. And it is now Gamash's turn.
So, idea I just had reading the enlarge spell. So I'm like towering over this little drow woman, right? And I weigh 8 times what I usually weigh, right?
You do.
So I weigh 1,600 pounds. I'm gonna body slam her. So I just like
All right.
I like look at the shadow demon. I'm like, hold that thought for a second, and I turn towards the woman on the ground beneath me, and I just take like 2 steps and just jump into the air.
Roll me a d20.
Okay. I'm not using Dice Stream anymore. It hates me. Okay. 15. And then am I adding anything to that?
Good. No, you're gonna roll me a d20 again and add your strength modifier
Oh.
With
for
advantage.
damage.
Okay. So plus my
D20 damage plus strength.
So I got an 18, so that's 21.
All right. So you just pancake her for 21 points of damage.
That's great.
Yes.
And you can stay lying on the ground if you want, smothering her, or you can get up. I'll let you do that.
Okay. If I stay lying, like shoving her to the ground, can I like pull like a health potion out, and, like?
Next turn,
Dang
you can
it,
do that as a
okay.
bonus action.
Well, I'm gonna stand up, but can I keep my foot on her?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll work.
I'll like get up to my feet and like dust like this like matter off from all the bodies I smashed with her, and like put my foot on top of her, and like look down at her and just kind of like shake my fingers like
All right, and as you do this, you're down there shaking your finger, and you feel raking across your back as this demon, as you've gone away, has closed the gap on you and hits you for 10 points of damage.
Oh my gosh, I'm barely standing.
As a free action,
And,
Roland will begin writing a eulogy.
Ow.
So you hear deep in the recesses of your mind, never turn your back on an enemy.
Ow.
And Roland, your turn.
Alright. Roland is going to head down, charge at the Shadow Demon. And this is the most important roll, so I'm not lying, I will show you. I actually got 18 on the die. And so
Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to pull up. This will be a charge attack, so it's going to do 8 damage, and then 8 more damage because it was a charge. And now it must make a DC 15 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
So as you in your bison form, you're charging forward. This demon is just raked across Gamash's back, and you see Gamash kind of drop to one knee as streaks of blood appear across his back, and you catch the creature, the demon, on the side. He goes flying into the air, and as he goes into the air, you notice that his shadowy form separates from the circle beneath him, goes arcing throughout the air, and lands flat on his back over 10 feet away. And as he lands, you notice the shadow just disperses and spreads throughout the room and disappearing. And the demon is done. Thor.
Okay. Am I still engulfed in darkness?
No, you're good. So you've got you just saw this demon drop down and disappear as a roll of flying, and now you've got your floating mage and the priestess who's under Gamash's foot as he's kneeling, bleeding.
I'm gonna, since this floating mage is right next to me, I'm gonna stab at this mage as it's floating there with my rapier. That's not gonna hit. 9.
No, doesn't make it.
And that'll be it for my turn.
All right, Lorimar.
Lorimar is. I'm going to run like right underneath this floating mage and just like look up, open my hands up, and just you see the flames building, and then I'm just going to like all the force of the flame that leaps out of my hand is going to go right up into it's going to go into both this floating mage and Solarian, but I'm confident in my my companion's abilities to get out of its way. Of course. Since the mage is floating there, would he has to make a dex save? Would he be at disadvantage, or would he? All right,
Yeah, we'll do disadvantage for him.
Right. 14 is a.
And he rolls and doesn't make it.
Yes. All right. So we are going to roll this old school 3, 6.
Everyone's abandoning Dice Stream.
Yeah, this didn't really help me a whole lot, but
It has failed me one too many times.
it will be 8 points of damage, and Solarian needs to make a dex save as well, but Solarian has advantage against spells. And plus is 14. And Solarian is able to dodge out of the way, only taking 4 points of damage as she's singed.
Yeah, so she ducks out of the way of this flame, and she swings back for an attack.
Oh yes, right back in. And 15.
That'll do it.
All right. And a 15 as she attempts to bite back onto, and that's 13 points of damage as she sinks her teeth deep into this mage.
Yeah, so Solarian, she instead of the swipe and flyby, this one sinks like right on the meat of his trap. Just sinks deep into him. Solarian's just locked on there, and you see blood trickling down, staining these robes, running over the glowing purple spider amulet. As his blood runs over it, you notice that this amulet starts glowing, and an aura starts to extend from it when the blood makes contact. And it keeps growing and growing. But below, the priestess manages to slide herself out from under Gamash's foot as he's slightly distracted. And let me make sure. Okay, I'm going to look up the stats for this real quick. And all right. While she's climbing out, you notice that as she gets out, she slides backwards. As soon as she sees his amulet glowing, she starts moving back towards the edge of the wall. And right then, this amulet, you see a crack appear, and purple light pierces out until it shatters, and this greenish purple mist just flows and billows out of the amulet, engulfing everyone within that 20-foot radius. So that would be everyone. Whew. Oh God. Let's get con saves all around.
Man.
All right.
Wow. 17.
Heck, why not? I'll roll for kicks and giggles.
Well,
Wow! That's an 18.
finally I got some karma. I got a nat 1.
I got an 11.
This could be interesting.
And Solarian. Solarian rolled a 17.
So we are DC 14 here. So if you get 14 or higher, you make this. And if you make it, you take 20 points of damage.
Ooh.
What? On a make?
Oh.
If you make it, you take 20?
If you
Well-
do not make it, 40 points of damage.
Well, boys, I'm
Okay.
negative 19 in the hole, so...
Wow.
All
I
right.
don't have 20 points of hit points
Wait,
as it
wait,
is,
wait, wait.
and I didn't make mine.
Can I use heroic interposition to get in the way for someone?
Yes, you can.
Okay. That means I take all their damage too, right?
So you can do that. We'll take a brief metagame pause and let you talk to the party, and you can do that for who you'd like.
So considering how big I am, can I block for 2 people?
Let me listen to the party talk.
I
Okay.
will actually survive this. So if you have to block for the other
Yeah.
two.
I'll survive by 1 point myself.
And Lorimar's going down if he takes this.
I go down if I take half damage. But
Okay.
and
Does
Dave,
the
let me
full
ask you
damage
this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: can I use my inspiration card to see if there's any way that I can get a card that could save our lives? I get 2 cards. See if
Oh,
there's like a reaction that I can try to roll for.
Ooh.
clutch.
All right.
Yes, you can.
All right. I'm gonna try this. So I'll roll 2 of these. And the first one is a 58.
58. Dun dun dun. Here we go.
Oh.
Animate dead.
Well, I might be dead. That might be useful.
Gamesh will be back in one way or another. And the other is an 8.
I think the game's trying to tell us something.
Did you say 8?
8.
8. Seize initiative. Beginning of a round, you all go first, despite order of the battle.
Well, that's not going to help us, I don't think. I was hoping.
Just take the
So
season
you,
initiative one, yeah.
So
No, I
you
get to take both.
that one. Hopefully,
You have to
No,
get rid
I-
of one though.
Or do I only get one?
I think you pick one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the season initiative.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
So that was so that was an instant one where you play it at the beginning of a round, and the whole battle you guys go first.
Okay.
so
I have
yeah.
a great plan that will have Roland live this encounter.
I I will use heroic in a position. So
Okay.
you
Um,
oh sorry, go ahead.
so heroic interposition. That was you add your. Crap, I
Yeah.
don't remember. What
So
was it?
it's
You add what?
I add my AC instead, and but if they succeeded, crit me.
Yeah, and your AC right now is.
My AC is 15, but this was a save, so
Yeah, we will say that. Let's try this. All right, you're good. You managed to protect him.
okay.
You will take the damage like you did with no additional for him.
Okay, so basically, Lorimar, you'd be like looking up as you see like the explosion about to go, and Gamash looks over, and he sees him in his wounded state, and just this memory flashes through his mind, where he saw Lorimar dead, and he
Oh,
looks up,
Nice.
and he's Lorimar, and he steps forward, and he kneels in front of him, and he like puts his arms like down and around, and just blocking him from the explosion.
So I'm gonna jump in and help you a little bit here. Um, if you'd like, I don't have to, but instead we'll say that you go and push Lorimar, sliding him back. Just because I don't want to see that. You slide him back as this billowing green-purple cloud engulfs all three of you. You hear the thud as this levitating mage drops to the ground, and this cloud just hovers and hangs in the air. You hear another thud as a giant 10-foot dragonborn clangs onto the ground. And you, Roland and Thor, you guys take damage. You can't see where you are. You're coughing. You're gagging on this noxious chemical-smelling cloud that is hovering around you. Lorimar, you've been pushed just to the outreach of the cloud, and you see the priestess immediately to your right at the outskirts of it. And let's see. Gamash, time for a save.
All right, here we go. Okay, that's an 11.
Okay, so there's one. Roland, you're up.
All right. As
So
Roland,
you're coughing and gagging on this smoke. You can barely move. You're so disoriented. You know you can only move about 10 feet this round. So you'd have to use everything you can just to make it to the edge of that cloud.
well, as Roland was hit by that light, basically he melted out of bison form and even took some damage to his wood elf form, but still survived 40 damage. So to start, he's just gonna just almost in a shiver wrap his arms around himself and cast Cure Wounds at 3rd level. And I will get 30 hit points back, so golly, I'm back to full health. And
There you go.
yeah, I'll just try to, like, coughing and gagging, try to make my way out of the smoke.
Yeah, and you can make it right to the limits of the smoke, right at the edge, getting your first breath of clear air as you're coughing, working your way out of there. And
All right.
Thor, same thing for you.
All right. Air genasies don't breathe, so would Thor be affected by this noxious cloud?
Yeah, so you you're not coughing, but you feel this burning and itching all over every single bit of your skin. You're not going to suffocate, but you do feel this burn and discomfort from it just touching you.
Okay. And can I see the mage that fell to the ground?
No, you can't see anything. You just heard the thuds as everything dropped.
Okay. I'm going to try to move over to where I heard the thud.
Now you do feel that like if you stay in this cloud, it's going to keep hurting. But yeah, you can work towards him
Well,
knowing that it's
would
going
I
to
be
hurt
going
you.
out? Would I be going out of the cloud if I made it?
No, yeah. So you heard that thud, like this cloud centered on the mage, and it just dropped exactly where he was floating.
Oh, okay. It's centered on him. All right. Well, then
Yeah.
I'll go out the other way to try to get out of it.
Yeah, and you emerge a little behind Lormar, and you see this priestess, just coughing slightly as she's leaning on the ground,
How far away is she?
about 15 feet.
I think I'll drop my rapier, take my short bow up, and send one flying towards her. That's going to be a 14.
So that one flies just over her shoulder, and she looks up and sees you both out of the cloud. Lormar, she's looking right at you.
All right. Is this so? At this point, Gamesh would be back to his regular size because I'm unable to maintain my concentration, and with what he just did, giving his life for me or what I perceive, I am going to use a spell that I haven't had a chance to use yet, and like the wind just starts building around my hands, and then I just like force it just right at this cloud, as just a gust of wind just bursts out from me and just goes like straight towards this cloud, and it disperses any vapor or anything like that that it's in its path to try to clear this away from Gamesh.
Yeah, and so you this cloud gets blown away, and you see the slumped form laying on his chest, his Gamesh. You notice that his lungs are slightly moving. You can see the rise and fall of his back.
All right, and then I just turn and look at this priestess, the last one standing, and with just death in my eyes, I promise that she is going to be next.
Yeah, and as you make eye contact with her, you notice that she sees this cloud disperse and notices Roland is still there. He looks healthy, and Thor is there, and you look healthy, and so she starts backing up, back towards the door that she came out of earlier, trying to make her way out of this room and looking out for Solarian.
Is Solarian? Is this a poison cloud? Would this be poison?
Yeah, so I rolled a chance, and Solarian did not get hit by it.
Solarian's immune to poison?
Oh, well, it wouldn't have mattered.
And just kind of flies around through it, and seeing this drow priestess taking off, she is having none of it, knowing how close we all are coming to death, and just comes diving in with her claws and flies right by.
So as Solarian swoops in, she flies right past the priestess who's backing up, and it causes the priest. She turns around to make sure Solarian's not getting behind her. Everyone's attention is now looking at this priestess as she flees, and you guys notice that as she turns around towards the doorway, emerging from the frame is the largest dragonborn you have ever... No, I'm just kidding. Emerging from the door frame...
Not
emerging
cool.
from the door frame... is the you see a hand raise a crossbow, and from behind you see a bolt pierce through the back. The arrow of a bolt appears in the back of the priestess's head. She falls forward, and you see Beanbop standing in the doorway with a large goblin kind of slumping, leaning over his shoulder. And she is down. You are all looking around the pile of bodies around you, staring at Beanbop and the new goblin. And that ran a little bit long, but that was one hell of a way to wrap up the night.
I am going to immediately run to Gamesh, knowing where he put those potions, the potions of healing that we tossed to him. I'm going to take them out of his pouch and just force them down his throat.
I'm gonna try to stop him and push him out of the way and use Cure Wounds instead.
You're going to have to fight me off.
No one gets to heal him. He has to roll his con saves until we play next week. If he doesn't make him, he dies. Oh yeah, you get up there and you lay your hands on him, and the power of nature courses through him, manages to revive Gamesh.
Yeah.
And
he would actually get 30 hit points back.
Oh wow,
There
I'm
you
completely
go.
revitalized.
Wow, nice.
There you go. Way to survive it, guys. That's
Jeez. Gamesh.
It was all chance rolls on the dice, and they got the most powerful attacks they had.
Yeah. Not to mention summoning a demon.
Right?
Goodness gracious, yeah.
Third level, we're fighting.
Just so
pretty
y'all
lucky
know,
rolls.
the Beanbop and the other guys, they defeated 4 more goblin and 2 drow while you guys were doing all that. So they were working too.
Hardly working.
We'll figure that out next week.
Wow.
So yeah, any closing remarks?
Fun
Otherwise, we
session.
can cut the
That was a fun
broadcast.
session.
That was.
Yep.
That was a good mix too of role playing and
Combat, yeah.
combat. I liked it.
It was intense, man. That very last battle, man, I was really worried.
Yeah, I told y'all it was gonna be tough, and you were like, "Yeah, right. This has been an easy session." Cool. All right. Well then, yeah, we as soon as we cut broadcast, we'll talk. We'll see if we'll do this next week, but yeah, we'll resume it in the next session of Dark Discoveries.
All right,
Sounds
here
good.
we go. Ending.